Welcome to a brand new training report video on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. Very excited to be doing this. I just got back from a 2.5 hour session on a Friday afternoon, or a Friday morning, I should say. That was great. That was very much needed. It was the first open training session that the club have put on for... I don't even remember the last time we were there, to be honest with you. I know that we go to Icon Park and we've been there for a few AFLW games, but to go there, watch the boys train who we haven't seen in a while, it was special. I remember parking the car, and as I'm walking up, you just get that, there's that nostalgia as you walk to Icon Park, and all the memories from your childhood are there. And for me, I was really excited to see, obviously, the boys train and to see body composition and all of that, and to see who was standing out. But I think it was also important to catch up with everyone and socialize. And, it's a very special place. And I think, the sooner that we open up Icon Park for open training sessions, the more normal life will be. And I think today was a really cool step in the right direction. And it was good to see everybody. And I know that there was quite a few people that couldn't make it today, and that was unfortunate. But, everyone does have a life outside of footy, and some people didn't make it. There was quite a big turnout, I must say, from what I expected. And I think everyone was just missing, being at home. The day started with Vossi giving us an address, which was really cool. Music was playing. They did a pretty good job of generating a good vibe for us all there. It was good to hear from him. And then it was just business as usual. The drills, I didn't take any footage to show you guys this time around. I really just wanted to enjoy the experience for what it was, and sort of stay in the moment and just have my moment there. I didn't want to have my camera out all day today, but potentially in the future I will look to do that. But really what I was looking for today in terms of training was just, as I said, the younger guys. And I know that we haven't seen a lot of these guys play or train for a while. So to see what their bodies look like and to see how we're training, and potentially have a glimpse into what we're trying to do, that was really my main focus for today. And to see little snippets of hopefully guys that have been injured or have been missing for a while, and just snippets of improvement. I will say this: I think once they eventually got to the match sim, the pressure was definitely a level above what I had seen last time I was there. The skills weren't, I wouldn't say the skills were outstanding, but I would definitely say the pressure was lifted. And there were quite a few moments which I'll touch on, where players were getting tackled and we were really tackling to hurt each other. And I noticed the crowd react more and more every time we would see tackling from big fellas like Harry. I know that there was one particular play where he absolutely pile drove Chera into the ground, which was good to see. I know that you don't want to get any injuries, but it was good to see that. That was definitely a feature for me. I took some notes for just moments that stood out to me, and what I want to do in this video is just give you my version of things that I saw. But for those of you who were also there, who were potentially standing on the other side of the ground to me, or whatever, I want you to add things that you noticed and things that you saw. I definitely think there was more short-term kicking. It wasn't so much of a long bomb kick that we've been used to seeing down the line. I think we were spreading the ground well, but looking to I feel like it was more of a match simulation than what it was a scratch match. I feel like we were trying to start these drills with a stoppage, and I think that was the way they were going today. Before I get into things that I saw in players that stood out, a few people were missing. I didn't see Wiedering or Tom de Koning. They were not at training at all. I didn't see them. I thought I saw Paddy Dow, but then I didn't see him for the rest of the day. There was a guy wearing the number 2, but it definitely wasn't Paddy Dow. There were about 6, maybe 7 players who were just train-ons, extras who I guess are vying for a spot on the list. I noticed Ned Cahill was out there. I think Will Hayes was out there as well. So that was interesting. And obviously with open training, there's always the rehab group and those that are doing laps for the majority of the training. And those players were Luke Parks, Cunners, Marchbank, Doc, Ed Curnow and Jack Noons. Those are the guys that I saw doing laps for the majority of the day. Not going to lie, seeing Doc do laps definitely put a smile on the face. The hair starting to grow back. Doesn't really look like he's lost that much size, to be honest. He looks, pretty fit, pretty well conditioned. Voss was asked about Doherty in his little pre-training address to the fans, and he basically said that we're not putting a timeline on it, and it's going to be based on how he's feeling. So take of that what you will, but he definitely looked like a fit and professional athlete, and I was pleased to see him. Marchbank was the other one who I was really pleased to see. He did laps pretty much the entire time, it was a long session, and he seemed to be doing laps for the entirety of it. He looks pretty well conditioned as well. I know that he did his ACL, sort of once the season had already begun. So I'm not really sure how far off he is, but no strapping, running with some level of intensity as well. So he looked good. Cunners is obviously another one that's coming off an ACL. I thought he looked really strong, and it looks like he's put a lot more size on through his shoulders. Just he's really filled out in the upper body a bit more. So I'm not sure what the plan is with him, but he's always been someone that is in fairly good condition. Unfortunately, seems to have the injury issues that we know about. Luke Parks was another one. I think if I had to talk about body composition and those who really stood out to me with, the way that they're looking and whether they've grown or whatnot, I'd say I think Corey Durden definitely, you can just tell he's been lifting weights, he's put on some size. I think Luke Parks is another one. Like his shoulders have really filled out. I think Jack Carroll, we obviously saw a photo of him a few weeks ago, which drew some attention. He's definitely one that looks a lot more fuller. I think Matt always falls into that category as well. I like the look of him. And I think by the same token on the other end, I think Matt Kennedy looks like he's leaned out another level as well. He trained strongly. I liked what I saw from him. And yeah, I mean, look, I'm not really going to sit here and sell the dream and sell the hope. There wasn't much that happened today, which gives me a whole lot of confidence that we're definitely going to be a better side or whatnot. I'm not here to do that, but just to give you some things that I noticed. I know we want to keep a lid on Charlie, but I will say this, I'll just, cut to the chase. He was the standout player for me, in my eyes, on the day. He just had this spring, this athleticism. And I wonder, I'd love to know from the players' point of view how much of a difference it would have been to have the fans there, because there were quite a few hundred of us. And I wonder if that played a part in their intensity levels and training levels, just to feel that normality once again, as opposed to hearing silence or music or whatever they've been doing up to this date. But Charlie looked really good. There was a moment in the match simulation. It was a full ground drill, we'll call it. And he marked the ball on sort of the wing half forward. He was sort of running towards the goal, but then he changed direction completely. And obviously with Charlie, there's a bit of a heart in your mouth type stuff with Charlie, because he's obviously very important to us and we want to make sure that he's okay. But I think as soon as he made that change of direction, it looked good from there. He looked fine. He got tackled a few times, went to ground. By the end of the training, I wasn't even thinking about his knees or anything like that. He just looked like a normal guy. And every time the ball came near him, he seemed to mark it. He was too strong. There's a little clip that I'll play right now where he just throws Brody Kemp to the ground in this drill that they did. That drew some oohs and some ahs. And he was kicking goals from 45, 50. He just looked like the Charlie of old. And I don't want to put too much pressure on. And I was a little hesitant to say that, but it's the truth. He looked just as good as what I've ever seen him. So that's really exciting. I think the other thing to note was Mitch McGovern. I thought he trained really strongly. I thought his body composition looked a lot better than what I'd seen it in the past. He played behind the ball, and I thought he looked solid. I think if I have to point out a couple of players who really stood out for me, Charlie was clearly at the top, and then I thought Mitch was the next best. And I was kind of looking for moments within each drill or each minute of this match simulation which stood out to me, and there were a few of them, and Mitch McGovern sort of caught my eye with one particular passage of play. He was kicking the ball out, which I thought was really interesting, and I think it's a really good move because I think he's a beautiful penetrating kick. Kicks the ball out, hits a target, and then sprints to the 50-meter line and gets the ball back and marks it. And it was just, oh wow, the work rate. And it sort of float on from there, and he just seemed to naturally gravitate to where the ball was going. So I liked what I saw from Mitch. I know it's just training. It doesn't mean much at this stage because it all just comes to round one when we play the Tigers. I like what I saw from Chera. You can definitely see the composure there. He's got this ability to sort of feint left, feint right, still have more time, pitter-patter. And I noticed that every time he kicks the ball doesn't travel too far above the ground level. It's always a metre and a half, maybe 2 metres max above ground level. So I like to see that. He and Walsh were matched up on each other pretty much for the majority of the day, which I think is a good sign to see. Brody Kemp was generally matched up on Charlie for the majority of the day, and he had his hands full, I'll tell you that much. And so, yeah, there were a few little passages of play. To be honest, a lot of the notes I took were about Charlie. And by the end, I'm writing about how Charlie looks unreal. And I'm not trying to sell the dream, but I'm just really happy with how he looked and how he trained. A few little hit-ups from Fisher to Jack Carroll. Here's another one that stood out for me. The composure from Chera, as I said. And I think I mentioned before with Harry, he looked... There was a definite intention for him to really chase today. I saw him tackle a few people and really chase down. And I think the theme of what I saw on a high level today was the pressure was up for sure. And they weren't just tackling to be nice to each other. They were actually really getting into each other. So, yeah, in terms of the positional changes, we've spoken about Mitch McGovern. Zach Williams seemed to play midfield and then generally behind the ball. So that was an interesting one. Tom Williamson seemed to play a little bit more on the wing today, which was good. And I think he looks to have added another layer of pace to his game. He looked pretty sharp. And that was kind of the high level. Those are the standout things. I've got some other notes here, but of everything that I saw, I've just outlaid, the things that really stood out to me as the most important. So I'd now want to turn it to you. So those of you who were there, put some detail in the comments, things that you saw, players that you saw, certain plays that made you stand up. I know that there was a few moments with Sam Walsh there where gets the ball out of the pack, does something special, and then the crowd just, claps, and that was cool to see. And I think the more that we can get to open training, the better it will be, just to create more excitement and buzz around the community. And I would hope that it does something for the players as well. So it's good to be back. It's good to be talking about training again. And I hope to do it more often. And look forward to the next installment. So we'll chat to you in the comments and we'll go from there. Go the Mighty Blues.